Mr. Crawford, you came to take witness statement, but you can't see. Young police officer looked with surprise. James Crawford held his white cane, wore dark glasses for blind, was 56 years old. 3 years ago, lost his vision in explosion. Don't need to see, Jim said. Just need to hear. Crime scene, house in East Portland. Victim, Sarah Mitchell, 32 years old, found dead in her home, strangled. For witnesses, all gave different statements. Police were stuck, but Jim Crawford had lost his eyes, not his ears. And that night, with sounds alone, he would find the truth. If you love discovering extraordinary abilities in ordinary people, don't forget to subscribe right now. Hit that like button and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. James Crawford's story began 34 years ago in Portland, October of 1983. Back then was 22 years old, had just graduated from Portland Police Academy. 6 months spent at Academy were most intense period of his life. Every morning 5 a.m., running 5 kilometers, then weight training, 1 hour, then classes, criminal law, constitutional law, criminology, criminal psychology, afternoon tactical training, firearms training, defensive arts, crisis intervention. Jim got highest grades in every class. In firearms training, was best marksman in class. 100 shots, 98 hits. In defensive arts, jumped belt levels within 6 months. In physical endurance tests, broke all records. But Jim's strongest ability was an observation, was listening. In criminal psychology class, Professor Dr. Helen Martinez said one day, police officers generally focus on what they see, but best detectives focus on what they hear. People can control facial expressions, but controlling voice tones is much harder. That lesson changed Jim's life. From that day, Jim specifically started listening. Classmates' conversations, professors' voice tones. When anyone lied, Jim noticed, because voice tone changed. Rhythm broke, breathing quickened. Graduation day, Jim gave speech as valedictorian. Highest average, best performance. Portland Police Department immediately offered him job. First day, Jim was excited. Put on uniform, pin badge, strap gun, looked in mirror, and thought, I'm police officer now. Will protect people. First partner was Officer Tom Davis, 42 years old, 20 years experience. Tough, but fair. First patrol was night, 11 p.m., East Portland, dangerous neighborhood, high crime rate, drug dealing, gangs. Tom advised Jim, rookie, here everything happens fast. Blink of eye, you be prepared, but don't panic. Panic kills you. First 2 hours were calm. Routine patrol, few traffic stops, 1 domestic dispute call, but nothing serious. Then 1:37 a.m. Call came. All units. Armed robbery in progress. 15th Street. Quick Mart. 2 suspects inside. Tom hit gas pedal. Let's go. We're there in 2 minutes. 3 more police cars in front of Quick Mart. Sounds coming from inside. Shouting. Screaming. Commander gave order. Davis, you and Crawford, cover back exit. Nobody escapes. Tom and Jim ran to back. Door was closed, but window half open. Suddenly, back door opened. 2 masked men came out, running, carrying sports bags. Full. Stop. Police. Tom shouted, but men didn't stop. One had gun in hand. Tom drew weapon. Jim too. First man pointed gun at Tom. Jim reflexively fired. 1 shot. Hit man's shoulder. Man fell to ground. Gun flew from hand. Second man tried to escape, but Tom tackled. Both rolled to ground. Within 30 seconds, man was handcuffed. Jim still held gun, hands trembling, heart racing wildly. Had fired first time at real person. Tom came beside, put hand on Jim's shoulder. Crawford, good work. You saved me. That man was going to shoot me, but you were faster. Jim nodded breathlessly. Wounded man taken by ambulance. No life-threatening injury. Shoulder wound. Would stay 2 weeks in hospital. Then prison. That night, when Jim returned home, couldn't sleep. In his head, that moment replayed over and over. Pointing gun. Pulling trigger. Man falling. First shot. Life-saving shot. But still had fired bullet at person. Thought until morning. And decided something. If going to be police officer, must be to save people, not kill them. Gun is last resort, not first. Next day, commissioner called Jim to office. Crawford did good work last night. According to your partner, you saved his life. This deserves commendation medal. Jim nodded. Thank you, commissioner, but I just did my job. Humility is also important quality. But Crawford, I'm watching you. You're detective material. Observation power strong. Think logically. Do 2 more years patrol. Then take detective exam. Jim waited for that day. 2 years worked on streets. Saw hundreds of cases. Theft, robbery, attempted rape, domestic violence, drug dealing. In every case, Jim learned something. About people. How they lied. How they hid. How they escaped. And in every case, Jim listened. Didn't just observe. Listened. One day, responded to domestic violence case. Husband had beaten wife. When Jim and Tom arrived at house, husband was calm. Officer, it's misunderstanding. We just argued. But Jim listened to husband's voice. Calm, controlled, but underneath, tension. Was forcing himself to stay calm. Jim asked wife, "Ma'am, was it really just argument?" Woman looked at husband with fear, then nodded. Yes, just argument. But Jim heard woman's voice. Trembled, feared. "Ma'am, can we talk in another room? Alone?" Husband objected. "Not necessary. My wife told you. Just argument." But Tom intervened. "Sir, we follow standard procedure. Talk with all parties separately." When alone with woman, Jim asked, "Ma'am, you have bruising under eye, finger marks on neck. This isn't just argument. He beat you, didn't he?" Woman started crying. "Yes, but please don't arrest him. Will be worse. When released, he'll kill me." Jim held woman's hand. "Ma'am, we'll protect you. But first, he needs to be arrested. Then we'll place you somewhere safe. We'll help you." Husband arrested. Woman placed in shelter. 3 months later, 1 divorce case. Built new life. And Jim learned something that day. Sometimes, people hide truth not in what they say, but how they say it. 2 years later, Jim took detective exam. Written tests. Interview. Scenario tests. Jim succeeded in all. At 24, became youngest detective at Portland Police Department. First partner was Detective Sarah Kim, 32 years old, 8 years experience. Smart, tough, but fair. Sarah tested Jim first day. Crawford, detectives aren't like patrol officers. We think, analyze, are patient. Are you patient? Jim answered, ready to learn. First case was burglary. Luxury house. Valuable jewels stolen. Homeowner was wealthy businessman. Richard Blake, 60 years old. House had alarm system, but alarm hadn't gone off. No forced entry on doors. Windows not broken. Sarah asked Jim, "What's your theory?" Jim examined house. Every room, every detail. Then noticed something. Alarm system control panel. Was off, but checked if alarm active or passive. Was passive. Alarm was turned off, Jim said. Before burglar. This is inside job. Sarah nodded. Good observation. But who? Jim questioned house staff. Maid, gardener, driver. All weren't home that night. Was Friday night. Their days off. But there was one person. Richard Blake's son. Michael Blake, 28 years old. Lived in same house with father. Jim questioned Michael. "Michael, where were you that night?" "Was out with friends. At bar. Came back late." "Did you turn off alarm system?" "No. Don't even know alarm code." Jim listened to Michael's voice. When saying don't even know alarm code, Voice slightly rose. Small tension. Michael, alarm code is written. On panel in kitchen. Anyone can see. You can see too. Michael hesitated. I might not have seen it. Jim continued. Michael, can you tell me Barr's name? Which friend did you go with? Michael gave names, but Jim noticed inconsistency. When saying names, order was mixed. First said Tom, then John, then Tom again, like making it up. Jim and Sarah checked Barr, had security cameras. Michael wasn't at Barr that night. Michael questioned again, this time with evidence. Michael broke, confessed, had borrowed money from father. A lot, but didn't pay back. Gambling debts. Stole father's jewels. Was going to sell them. Case solved. Jim's first detective case. Sarah congratulated Jim. Crawford, you're a good detective. But I noticed something. When you question people, you don't just look at their faces. You listen to voice tones. This is very rare ability. Jim smiled. Professor taught me at Academy. People lie not in what they say, but how they say it. Very true, and you use it very well. Following years were Jim's rise years. Every year, solved dozens of cases. Murder, rape, robbery, fraud, missing persons. Jim used same method in every case. Listening, analyzing voice tones, understanding when people lying, when telling truth. At 27, met his wife, Emma Rodriguez, was nurse, worked at St. Vincent Hospital. Jim had taken wounded witness to hospital from crime scene. Emma was treating that witness. Jim, when first saw Emma, was impressed, not just by her beauty, by her calmness, her compassion. 3 months later, asked her out. Emma accepted. 1 year later, married. 2 years later, daughter Jennifer born. Jim was no longer just detective, was father, husband, and this made him better detective, because now saw every victim as someone's family. At 30, became chief detective of homicide. At 40, department's most successful detective. 98% solve rate. Media gave Jim nickname the listening detective, because Jim always said, truth is in details, and most important details are heard with ears. In interview, reporter asked, Detective Crawford, how are you so successful? Jim answered, because I work not just with eyes, but also with ears. People can control eye contact, can control facial expressions, but controlling voice tones is very hard, and I hear those voice tones. But at 45, Jim's life changed forever. 2014, June 13th, Friday, hot summer day. Portland was going about usual business. But at 2 p.m., police department received bomb threat. Anonymous call. Voice changer used. Downtown Portland. First National Bank building. Bomb in basement. Will explode within 1 hour. Commissioner immediately acted. Building evacuated. 700 employees. Bomb squad called. Jim assigned as scene coordinator. When Jim arrived at building, was total chaos. People exiting in panic. Ambulances waiting. Fire department ready. Bomb squad entered building. Team leader was Sergeant Mike Torres. 48 years old. 25 years experience. Had defused hundreds of bombs. Jim talked with Mike on radio. Mike, what situation? Scanning building. Haven't found anything yet, but big building. Will take time. 30 minutes passed. Still nothing found. Jim was suspicious. Mike, did you check old sections? Oldest part basement. Going there now. 5 minutes later, Mike's voice came. Tense. Jim, we found it. Large bomb. Very complex. C for explosive. Digital timer. 15 minutes left. Jim informed Commissioner. Commissioner, bomb found. 15 minutes. Commissioner gave order. Everyone pull back. Nobody stays in building except bomb squad. But Jim didn't pull back. Commissioner, I can help Mike. Can coordinate. Crawford, too dangerous. I know, but staying anyway. Jim entered building. Went down to basement. Mike and team working over bomb. Bomb was complex. 3-layer wire arrangement. Each layer different color coding. If wrong wire cut, would explode immediately. Mike was sweating. Jim, this bomb is professional. Haven't seen anything this complex. How much time needed? Don't know. Maybe 10 minutes. Maybe not enough. You do it. I'm here. 10 minutes left. Mike analyzed first layer. Red wire, blue wire, green wire, yellow wire. Need to cut red wire, but not sure. Jim stood beside. Mike, you're the best. Make decision. I trust you. Mike cut red wire. Bomb didn't stop, but trigger didn't activate. Good. 8 minutes left. Second layer, more complex. 6 wires, different thicknesses. Mike analyzed. This layer is double lock. Need to cut 2 wires together. But which 2? Jim thought. Mike, bomb makers generally think symmetrically. Maybe outer wires. Mike looked. Makes sense. Trying. Cut 2 outer wires together. Bomb still running. But second layer passed. 5 minutes left. Third layer. Final. Mike looked and face paled. Jim, this is trap layer. 3 wires. But 1 is fake. If I cut fake one, explodes immediately. How do you tell which is fake? Don't know. Need to look at timer. Which wire connected, which not. But timer was inside bomb. To see. Needed to partially dismantle bomb. 3 minutes left. Mike opened timer with shaking hands. Looked. Left wire. Left wire is real. Others are fake. Are you sure? 80%. 2 minutes left. Mike, 80% is enough. Cut it. Mike held left wire. Prepared scissors. 1 minute left. Jim, if I'm wrong, you're not wrong. You're the best. Cut now. Mike cut wire. Bomb. Stopped. Timer stopped before reaching 0. 42 seconds left. Mike collapsed to the floor. We did it. Thank God. Jim breathed. First time realized. Had been holding breath. But suddenly, something happened. On bomb side, small light turned on. Red. Blinking. Mike looked and panicked. No. This is double trigger. When left wire cut, backup trigger activated. We have 5 seconds. What? Run. Jim and Mike ran to stairs. But too late. Explosion. Massive explosion. Sound deafened ears. Shock wave through Jim and air. Hit wall. Fell to ground. Then darkness. Jim woke up in hospital. But something was wrong. Was dark. Everything dark. Hello? Anyone there? Heard his voice. Own voice. But echo present. Like was in closed room. Tried to stand up. But body hurt. Everywhere. Help. Someone. Door opened. Footsteps. Approaching. Detective Crawford? Are you awake? Woman's voice. Didn't sound familiar. Where am I? St. Vincent Hospital. You're in intensive care. I'm Dr. Emily Ross. Neuro-ophthalmology specialist. Why? Why can't I see anything? Silence. Doctor? Why can't I see? Dr. Ross took deep breath. Detective Crawford need to talk with you. But first you need to stay calm. I'm calm. Tell me. In explosion, your eyes suffered serious damage. Retinal damage. Optic nerve damage. We performed emergency surgery. 2 operations. 12 hours. Did everything we could. But Jim's heart stopped. But what? You lost your vision. In both eyes. Total blindness. Permanent. I'm very sorry. Words echoed in Jim's mind. Lost your vision. Permanent. Blindness. No. No, no, no. This can't be true. Detective Crawford, I know this is very difficult, but you don't know. I'm detective. Detective C. See evidence. See facial expressions. How will I be detected without eyes? Dr. Ross waited silently. Jim cried. First time in 20 years. Because in 1 second, everything was gone. Career, identity, future. Following days were nightmare. Emma came every day. held Jim's hand. Honey, I'm here. I'm here with you. But Jim didn't talk. Just lay in darkness. Jennifer came, was 12 years old. Dad, you'll get better, won't you? Jim couldn't answer because didn't know. Eyes would never heal. Sarah Kim came. Jim, we're waiting for you. Department isn't same without you. Jim turned head. Sarah, I'm not detective anymore. But please, just leave me alone. 2 weeks later, discharged from hospital, but refused to go home. Went to Rehabilitation Center. 4 blind. There, had to learn everything. Again, white cane use, feeling with fingertips, mobility, orientation, Braille reading, touch letter recognition, slow, very slow, daily activities, eating, dressing, bathing, using bathroom, everything in darkness. First week, Jim constantly fell, hit walls, hit doors, tripped over objects. In anger, one day threw cane. This is ridiculous. I can't do this. Rehabilitation specialist Lisa Chun stayed calm. Detective Crawford, everyone struggles at beginning, but in time, you'll get used to it. Don't want to get used to it. Want to see. I know, but unfortunately, that's not possible. But you can adapt, can build new life. Life? How do I build life in darkness? Lisa approached. Detective Crawford, you only lost your eyes. Didn't lose your mind. Didn't lose your experience. Didn't lose your abilities. You're still valuable. Jim cried silently. 6 months. Stayed at Rehabilitation Center. Every day worked. White cane, Braille, mobility, and slowly adapted. No longer falling. No longer hitting things. But still felt lost. 8 months later, returned home. Emma and Jennifer met him. Welcome home, honey. Welcome to our home. But home no longer felt familiar. It was dark. Only sounds, smells, touch. Jim, first weeks at home, mostly stayed in bedroom. Saturday, in darkness. Emma tried to encourage. Honey, want to go outside? Fresh air will be good. No, don't want anyone to see me like this. Like what? Blind, helpless, useless. You're not useless. You're my husband, Jennifer's father, and you're still Jim Crawford. But Jim didn't believe, because didn't feel like Jim Crawford, felt like broken version of himself. One day, Sarah Kim visited home. Emma let her in. Jim, I'm here. Can I talk with you? Jim, in bedroom, said, Sarah, don't want visitors. I know, but I'm not visitor. I'm your partner, and I need to talk. Sarah entered room, sat beside Jim. Jim, department misses you. But more importantly, I miss you. You were best detective I ever worked with. I was, past tense, not anymore. Why not? Because Sarah, I can't see. How can I be detective if can't see crime scenes? Can't see evidence? Can't see suspects' faces? Sarah was silent for a moment, then said something that would change Jim's life. Jim, do you remember that Michael Blake case? Your first case as detective. Yes. Why? You solved it. Not because you saw something. Because you heard something. Michael's voice. When he lied. You heard tension. Hesitation. That's how you caught him. Jim listened. Sarah continued. And do you remember Linda Harris murder? Mark Harris case. Yes. You solved that too. By listening to Mark's voice tones. When he said around 11, his voice changed. That's how you knew he was lying. Jim realized something. Sarah was right. Jim, in 20 years, you solved hundreds of cases. Yes, you used your eyes. But your strongest weapon was never your eyes. Was your ears. You always said, people lie not in what they say, but how they say it. And you heard those lies. With ears, not eyes. Jim sat silently, processing. So what are you saying? I'm saying you can still be detective. Different kind. Consultant. In interrogations. Witness statements. You listen. Analyze voice tones. Find lies. help us solve cases. But Sarah, I'm retired. Medically, I know, but you can come back. As consultant, part-time, when we need you. Jim, you have gift of hearing truth. Don't waste it. Jim thought for a long time, then said, let me think about it. Take your time. But that night, Jim couldn't sleep. Sarah's words echoed in mind. Your strongest weapon was your ears. Was it true? Could he really still be detective? Without eyes? Next morning, Jim called Sarah. Sarah, it's Jim. I want to try. Your offer. I'll try. Sarah's voice brightened. Really? Jim, that's wonderful. When can you start? Give me 2 weeks. Need to prepare. 2 weeks. Jim worked hard. Practice listening. Television interviews. Podcasts. Audiobooks. Focus on voice tones. Inflections. Hesitations. Tensions. His ears became sharper. More sensitive. Could hear things others couldn't. Sarah sent him audio recordings. Old interrogations. Witnesses. Suspects. Jim listened. Analyzed. Wrote reports. And Sarah was amazed. Jim, your analyses are perfect. You're catching lies we missed. This is incredible. 3 months later, Jim worked on first real case as consultant. Murder case. Woman found dead in home. Victim, Linda Harris, 48 years old, stabbed to death. Husband, Mark Harris, was suspect, but claimed innocence. I was at work, came home late, found my wife dead. Police couldn't prove he was lying. No evidence contradicted his story. Sarah brought Jim to interrogation room. Jim sat in corner, with headphones, listening to live interrogation. Sarah asked Mark, Mr. Harris, what time did you arrive home? Around 11 p.m. Jim listened carefully. Around 11, voice slightly rose. Small tension. Breathing quickened for a moment. Sarah continued, did anyone see you at office? No. Everyone had left. I stayed alone. Jim heard. Stayed alone. Voice tensed. Small pause before speaking. Throat cleared. After interrogation, Jim told Sarah, he's lying. 2 places. Around 11 foot and stayed alone. Voice tones changed. Tension increased. He's hiding something. Sarah investigated. Checked Mark's office security cameras. Mark had left office at 9 p.m. Not 11. 2-hour gap. When confronted with evidence, Mark confessed. Killed wife for insurance money. Case solved. Jim's first case as blind consultant. Sarah hugged Jim. You did it, without seeing anything. You found truth with just ears. Jim smiled. First genuine smile in months. Maybe I can still be detective. Just different kind. Following 2 years, Jim worked on 12 cases. All complex. All stuck. And in all 12, Jim found lies. Found truth. Helped solve cases. His method was simple but effective. Listen to voice recordings. Identify tension points. Analyze breathing patterns. Detect hesitations. Find inconsistencies. In one case, kidnapping, for witnesses gave statements. All claims saw nothing. But Jim, listening to recordings, heard something. Third witness, when saying saw nothing, voice wavered. Breathing irregular. Small pause. Jim told police. Third witness is lying. Knows something. When pressed, witness confessed. Had seen kidnapper's car, but was afraid to tell. Because kidnapper threatened him. With that information, kidnapper caught. Child rescued. Safe. In another case, robbery, suspect claimed had alibi. Was with friend. All night. But Jim, listening to statement, heard. All night. Emphasis too strong. Like convincing himself, not just police. Jim suggested, check friend's statements separately. Friend, when questioned alone, admitted. Suspect wasn't there all night. Only came at midnight. After robbery. Suspect arrested. Case after case. Jim proved. Eyes aren't only way to see truth. Ears can see truth too. Media heard about Jim. Blind detective solves cases with sound alone headlines. Reporter came to interview. Detective Crawford, how do you do this? How do you catch liars without seeing them? Jim answered, because lies aren't just visual. Lies are auditory. When a person lies, their voice changes. Might be small change, fraction of second, but it's there. Most people don't hear it because they focus on seeing. But I can't see, so I focus on hearing. And I hear everything. Isn't it frustrating? Not being able to see. Jim thought, at first, yes, I was angry, depressed, felt useless, but then realized I didn't lose everything, just lost one sense. But my other senses became stronger. My hearing, my touch, my intuition. Blindness didn't end my career, just changed it. Interview went viral, millions of views, and suddenly, Jim Crawford became symbol for blind community, for disabled community. Proof that disability doesn't mean inability. One day, FBI called. Detective Crawford, we heard about your work. Behavioral Analysis Unit is interested. Your skill in voice analysis is valuable. Would you consult for us? Jim was surprised. FBI, federal level. What would I do? Listen to interrogation recordings. Analyze voice patterns. Identify deception indicators. Help our agents catch criminals. Jim thought, I'd be interested, but I work from home. Can't travel. Understood. You'd work remotely. We send recordings. You analyze. Send reports. Then I accept. Now, Jim Crawford was consultant for both Portland Police and FBI. Every week, received dozens of audio files, interrogations, witness statements, suspect interviews. Jim listened, analyzed, wrote detailed reports, and success rate was remarkable. 87% accuracy in detecting deception. FBI agents were amazed. How does blind man catch lies better than trained interrogators? Answer was simple. Because Jim wasn't distracted by visual cues, could focus purely on audio, on subtlest changes in voice, on breathing, on rhythm, on pauses. His blindness wasn't disability, was advantage. But biggest case was coming. 2017, October, Sarah Mitchell murder, 32 years old, found dead in home, strangled to death, no forced entry, nothing stolen, wedding ring still on finger, wallet intact. For neighbors were questioned. All gave different accounts of that night. Police were confused. Statements didn't match. Someone was lying. But who? Sarah Kim called Jim. Jim, we're stuck. For witnesses. For different stories. Can you help? Bring them in. I'll listen. First witness, Robert Chun, 60 years old, retired teacher. Lived across street from Sarah Mitchell. In interrogation room, Jim sat in corner, headphones on, listening. Sarah asked, Mr. Chun, what time are you home that night? 9 p.m. Was watching television. Then heard sound, like scream, but short, just 1 second. What did you do? Looked from window, but saw nothing. Sarah's house had lights on, but no movement. Jim listened carefully. Robert's voice, calm, steady, breathing regular. No hesitation. No tension points. Voice tone consistent throughout. Assessment, truthful. Second witness, Maria Gonzalez, 45 years old, nurse. Lived next door to Sarah, right side. I came home around 10 that night from my shift at hospital. When opening my door, heard sound from Sarah's house, like something heavy fell. What did you do? Knocked on Sarah's door, but she didn't answer. Thought maybe she was sleeping, so went to my house. Jim listened. Maria's voice, tired but honest. Breathing normal. Small natural pauses. Voice tone genuine. Sad when talking about Sarah. Assessment, truthful. Third witness, David Park, 38 years old, software engineer. Lived next door to Sarah, left side. I was working late that night, from home. Around 11, got up for bathroom. Looked from window. Sarah's house still had lights on. but saw movement. Shadow, like someone walking inside. Did you call police? No. Thought maybe it was Sarah. In her own house. Didn't want to interfere. Jim listened and noticed something. David's voice slightly tense. When saying around 11, small pause. Breathing quickened slightly. When saying shadow, voice tone changed fractionally, like choosing words carefully. Assessment, possible deception. Investigate further. Fourth witness, Linda Morrison, 51 years old. Realtor, lived behind Sarah's house. I was walking my dog that night. 10:30. Passed by Sarah's backyard. Back door was ajar. Found it strange. Sarah was always careful. Did you check? No. Thought maybe she forgot. Went home. Jim listened. Linda's voice, natural, conversational. Breathing regular. But when saying door was ajar, slight emphasis. Like highlighting specific detail. But tone genuine. Assessment, truthful, but emphasizing important detail. After all 4 interrogations, Sarah met Jim privately. What do you think? Jim leaned forward. 3 are truthful. 1 is lying. David Park. How sure are you? 90%. When he said around 11, his voice tensed. Small pause. Breathing changed. When he said shadow, he was careful with word choice, like constructing story. But why would he lie? Don't know yet, but investigate his connection to Sarah, his past, his movements that night. Sarah investigated and discovered something. 3 months ago, David Park had asked Sarah Mitchell on a date. Sarah refused. Since then, David had been following Sarah on social media, taking photos secretly. Search warrant executed on David's house. Police found hundreds of photos of Sarah, taken without her knowledge. From windows, from street, obsessive behavior. David brought in for second interrogation. This time, Jim actively participated. Sarah started. David, did you know Sarah Mitchell well? Just as neighbor, we said hello sometimes. Jim heard. Just as neighbor. Voice wavered. Throat cleared after speaking. Jim spoke. David, your voice just changed. When you said just as neighbor. Why? David was startled. Who's asking? I'm Detective Crawford, consultant, and I'm listening very carefully to your voice. Every word, every tone, every breath. Sarah continued. David, we found photos in your house. Hundreds of photos of Sarah taken secretly. David panicked. I can explain. Jim listened, breathing rapid, voice rising. Classic stress indicators. Jim said softly, David, that night, you didn't just see shadow. You were there, in Sarah's house. Weren't you? No. I was home. Jim heard lie clearly. Voice too defensive, too quick to deny. David, when you say I was home, your voice rises at end. Like question, not statement. Like you're uncertain. Or lying. Sarah added, David, we can check your phone records, your location data. If you were home, data will prove it. Should we check? David broke, started crying. Okay, I was there, at Sarah's house. What happened? I went to talk to her, to tell her I loved her, but she got angry, said she'd call police, said I was harassing her. I panicked, put hands on her neck, just to stop her from screaming, but pressed too hard. She stopped moving. I killed her. Full confession. David Park arrested. Murder charge. Life sentence. Case solved. Most complex case Jim had solved. Purely with ears. Sarah hugged Jim after. Jim, without you, we never would have caught him. All 4 witnesses seemed equally credible, but you heard what we couldn't. Jim smiled. I just listened, really listened, to what words said and what they didn't say. News of Jim's success spread. FBI requested more consultations. Other police departments called. The blind detective became national story. One day, Journalists from major magazine came. Detective Crawford, you solved 48 cases in 2 years, all while blind. How do you do it? Jim thought carefully. Blindness taught me something important. We rely too much on eyes. Eyes can deceive. People control facial expressions, body language. But voice is harder to control. When someone lies, their voice betrays them. Small change in pitch, slight hesitation, quickened breath. Most people don't notice because they're looking. But I can't look, so I listen, and I hear truth. Do you miss seeing? Every day, I miss seeing my wife's face, my daughter's smile, sunrise. But I gained something too. Clarity, focus. My hearing became so sharp. I hear things others miss. In some ways, I see more now than I did before, just differently. What advice would you give others facing disability? Jim smiled. Disability doesn't mean inability, just means finding different way. I lost my eyes, but I found my ears. Lost one ability, but gained another. Don't focus on what you lost. Focus on what you still have, and use it. Article published. Went viral. Millions read it. Jim received hundreds of letters from blind people, from disabled people, from anyone facing challenges. You inspired me. You showed me it's possible. You gave me hope. Jim answered every letter personally, using Braille typewriter Emma bought him, because he remembered how hopeless he felt in hospital, in rehabilitation center, those first dark months. And if a story could help even one person, was worth it. 3 years after explosion, Jim Crawford had rebuilt his life, was consultant for Portland Police and FBI, solved dozens of cases annually, had purpose again. Relationship with Emma stronger than ever. Honey, I fell in love with your heart, not your eyes. Still same man I married. Jennifer, now 15, told her friends, my dad is coolest. He's blind detective, solves crimes with just hearing. One evening, family sat together. Dinner time. Jennifer asked, Dad, do you ever wish you could see again? Jim thought, of course, sweetheart. Would love to see you. See how beautiful you've become. But if I could choose between seeing and hearing, I'd choose hearing. Because hearing gave me back my career, my purpose, my life. Emma squeezed his hand. You're amazing, honey. You turned tragedy into triumph. Not triumph, just adaptation, just survival. No, Emma said firmly, triumph, because you didn't just survive. You thrived. You proved that disability is just different ability. That night, after family asleep, Jim sat alone, in darkness, his permanent darkness, and realized something profound. He was happier now than before explosion, before blindness, because before he had eyes but was blind to what mattered. Career obsession, workaholism, missed family dinners, missed Jennifer's school plays, missed life, but now couldn't see anything, but saw everything clearly. What mattered, who mattered, why mattered. Blindness didn't take his vision, gave him vision, true vision, inner vision. And maybe that was point all along. Present day, 2023. Jim Crawford, 56 years old, 9 years blind, still working, still solving cases. That particular October night, Sarah Mitchell case, 4 witnesses, 4 statements, 1 killer hidden among them. Jim had identified David Park as liar. Police arrested him. Confession obtained. Justice served. After David taken away, Sarah found Jim outside station. Jim, thank you. We would never have solved this without you. Jim smiled. Just doing my job. Well, my old job. New way. You know what's remarkable? You're a better detective now than before, because you focus on what matters. Truth. And truth is in voice. Truth is everywhere, Sarah. Just need to know where to look. Or, in my case, where to listen. They stood in silence moment. Cool October breeze. Sarah asked, do you ever regret going into that basement? That day, Jim thought, sometimes, when I want to see sunset, or Jennifer's face. But then I remember, if I hadn't gone, Mike would have been alone. He might have died, and bomb might have exploded, killing dozens. So no, don't regret, would make same choice. You're a hero, Jim. No, just man who lost eyes, but found purpose. Jim walked to his car. Emma was waiting, would drive him home. As he settled into passenger seat, Emma asked, "Long day? Solved case. Caught killer. My detective husband." She started engine. "Proud of you." Jim smiled, reached over, found her hand, squeezed. They drove home through Portland night. Jim couldn't see city lights, couldn't see buildings, couldn't see anything, but he heard everything. Car engine hum, traffic sounds, Emma's breathing beside him, Jennifer's music playing from her room when they arrived home. Life sounds, beautiful sounds, and realized he was living, really living, perhaps for first time. Because sometimes, to truly see, you must close your eyes and listen, really listen, to the truth beneath words, to the love around you, to the life you're given. Jim Crawford lost his eyes, but found everything else. And that, perhaps, was the greatest detective work of all. Don't forget to subscribe to Unlikely Heroes. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment.